All right. Hello. This is my presentation for uh, prototype 2. I was doing um, the predator prey simulation, the natural selection predator prey simulation. So yeah, I'll just start it up, and then I'll talk about the code later. Um, so here you can basically change anything you want within the simulation. Um, so like the predator prey size, the food amount, the the spawning rate of the food reward for each pellet you pick up, um, how much the predators steal from the prey for each trigger they enter, um, the trial time, which is like the amount of time between generations. Min speed, max speed is just the speed of the things, the predators and preys. And then the min radius and max radius, which is um, basically like their sight line. So I'll just reset this because this is a pretty balanced simulation right here. So I'll save this and I'll simulate. And then as you can see, the predators are the red and black balls, and the prey are the green slash blue balls. Um, the different colors just mean how much the seek radius is. So yeah, let's just speed this up a little bit. As you can see on the right side, I added a new feature. It's the graph, and it'll move as the generations go by. So as you can see, it's sort of the population of the whole system kind of levels out at around like 40, and then it goes up and down based on how many predators or prey there are. And yeah, the food will spawn. I added that as well. It spawns based on a timer instead of every generation, um, which is more realistic. Uh, and yeah, um, I tried to add a little bit of like the predators destroying the prey immediately, but that was just way too imbalanced, and I figured that like stealing food will just kill them anyways. If they don't get another food pellet on the ground. Um, so I thought that was enough for this simulation to work. So yeah, it'll just keep going until it'll just keep going like this. I tried this simulation a lot, and uh, like this particular one, and it seems to work very well. So yeah, let me show you the code. I guess I'll start with DNA here. So the DNA is basically everything within the little balls. So with anything within the brain is the DNA. As you could see, it gets initted, and then the DNA also gets initted here. Um, so yeah, that'll just basically call this function, and it'll randomize um, the min speed, max speed. It'll randomize the speed and the radius, and then the zero here is the reward. So basically every time you pick up a food, you get one reward, whatever the reward setting is set to. And then the sets are basically just like changing values. Um, but the combine basically combines two DNA strands and puts them together uh, by this. Um, so it takes like one mom, one dad, and basically splits that into a new strand. And then mutate here will basically just randomize everything in the strand. So that's it for DNA. Brain is also pretty simple. Um, I guess I'll go over here. The predator, if a predator enters a prey trigger, then they will steal food. If they have any food. Yeah, that's pretty simple. If they go outside the zone, then their time alive is set to false. Time alive is just a delta time in update. It's pretty simple. And then reward is just adding to the reward if it ever gets called. So I guess I'll go to population manager here. This is the really big massive manager. Update here gets the elapsed time based on delta time, and if it's greater than trial time, then the generation ends and it resets everything, and spawns new breeds new population, and then food that'll spawn every time this is greater than this thing right here. So if food spawn is very large, then the food will spawn slower. So it's kind of inverse like that. That's all. Those are just like managers for like lists and stuff. They're not really that important. Right here, this is something I added for the graphs. So the 0 graph is the population. The 1 graph is the predators, and then the 2 graph is the prey. And yeah, that just gets that from the population list here, and then like if it's a predator, it adds to the predator. If it's prey, it adds to the prey. Pretty simple. Reset food will just this is called like at the start at the start of the whole thing, not each generation, because food amount is what the population starts out with food. Spawn new creature basically just instantiates a thing and tells it if it's a predator or prey. Spawn new food does a similar thing as spawn new creature. It just spawns a new food at a location. Breed breed basically breeds one thing based on 2 other things. So the mom and dad here are the either a predator or prey. Both of them, they won't ever be a prey and a predator. That's just never going to happen based on the logic. So yeah, it just combines the DNA of both of them. As you can see right here, it calls this function. And then change color is just how I represent the predators and preys. And breed new population, it gets a list from the population list based on how successful they were. So right here is how successful they were. And then that allows me to basically eliminate everything with zero reward, because that means they didn't get anything. Everything with one reward will pretty much stay, but they won't they won't breed. And then everything else is just eliminated. So yeah, and everything with everything with 2 reward or better will basically just combine and breed a new creature of that same type. So if it's predator, it'll breed to a new predator. If it's a prey, it'll breed to a new prey. And then the graph I recently added. I guess I'll start here. Create circle just creates like one of those dots. And then, yeah, it's pretty simple. It just instantiates, sets the color, and then does some stuff with the transform. I'll go back to show graph later. Create dot connection basically just creates that line between them, between the 2 dots. So yeah, it instantiates the connection, gets the transform, gets the distance between the 2 dots, and then makes the size basically the distance between the 2 dots, and then gets the angle between the 2 dots, and then sets the angle. So that allows me to like just connect it basically. And then show graph, that gets called every time a new value gets added right here. So what show graph will do is get basic values for the graph height and the size of like the spread apart of the dots. Yeah, and then it'll basically start from the back, because sometimes the first one gets removed if the graph is too long. So yeah, that's what this does. If the X position is greater than the container width, then it'll just remove the first one and move everything back. Yeah, so that's basically what that does, and then it creates the dots and the connections, and then connects them based on whatever was last set as the circle. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I guess I'll show the options manager. This is just a pretty big pretty big manager. It just sets everything at the start. Um, and then save values will set everything to whatever value it is. And then reset values will just set everything to the default. So that's pretty simple. Um, yeah. And then food will basically just reward every time it enters a trigger area, and then destroy the food. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then movement, basically, it just wanders around. It just uses wander steering, uh, which is, pretty simple. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, I guess I'll show what happens like when food spawns very slowly. I guess I'll do like 3 3 seconds about. Um, so as you could see, the food is spawning very slowly, and there's not enough food for the whole population, so it'll decrease very fast. And then, yeah, these guys, he got one food, but that's not enough to breed a population. And then, yeah, he'll die pretty soon, yeah. And then it just keeps going, but it won't spawn anymore. And then when food spawns like very fast, I guess, um, yeah, it's pretty much every frame anyways. So let's just reset that. Or maybe the predators steal a lot more. So let's see what happens there. Just speed this up a little bit. Yeah, I could see already the predators are getting really. There's a lot of predators already. Actually, it just kind of decreases the population, but they're still pretty pretty balanced. It's just less population because I guess there's less food to go around because they're stealing more, which kind of makes sense actually. Wow, this actually is pretty balanced. Huh. Yeah, so like you could play around with it a lot and just like mess around with the numbers and learn something new like I just did. So yeah. Oh, okay. Now the predators died because there was nothing to steal from. But yeah. And now the predator or the prey will just conquer the world. Uh yeah, so that is my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to, email me or talk to me at the next class time. And yeah, that is all for now.